All right, be honest. Do you want more energy? Is it hard to get out of bed in the morning? Do you want more vitality, more vigor, more explosiveness, more vibrance, more brilliance? Do you want to get better at life and accomplish more? Do you feel like you're sinking? Do you look in the mirror and know you're capable of much more? Do you lack consistency? We're going to fix that in this video. 100%. It's going to work for you because it worked for me. So understand this, and you're going to actually realize that you're more adept, more animated, more vibrant, and more energetic than you think you are. Now, this is not going to be just another generic diet and exercise video. This is more like a I have all the energy I need video. It's a I'm not dependent on medication video. It's a I completely defied the odds video. I can play whatever sport I want to video. It's a I can do anything that I put my mind to video, and a I'm gonna live the life that I want to video. Because to live the life that you imagine for yourself, you need the energy to take control of your destiny. And you need the clarity to maintain the focus. So I'm going to talk about energy in regards to how it relates to the systems in the body, because when the systems are not operating properly, that's when we feel low energy. And we end up suffering from the low energy. The big problem is not noticing when things are starting to get out of balance and we begin to normalize the low energy. It gets to a point where you acquiesce and then you just chalk it up as, oh, it's just old age, or this is how it is. And it becomes an everyday part of life to either live in pain or have low energy. Being in pain is actually contributing to low energy. You got to keep in mind, ever since human beings were created, we're roaming this planet thousands of years ago. We were moving all day long. When the sun came up, we were out trying to survive. It wasn't easy. We were nomadic, so we were walking around everywhere. We were hunting animals, foraging for food, building shelters. We were constantly doing things all day long. But fast forward to our modern society today, where everything's about convenience. You can have your food delivered to your door. For work, most of us will sit in front of computer screens or just stand still in a stationary position. We're not doing what the body was designed to do. Instead of walking, we're commuting in cars. Not only that, we're sitting around, we're watching TV, we're scrolling through social media, or even if we're sitting down reading and learning, we're sedentary. The body is too inactive. And that's the reason why they can sell us gym memberships. So they sell us what the body naturally wants to do. Because in our day and age, society is not structured in such a way where the body has to do much of anything to survive. So what do, right? There's some practical things I want to offer. Some of it comes from this book here called Bioenergetics, written by Alexander Lowen. It's a great read if you ever have a chance to read it. So Alexander Lowen basically thinks of energy in terms of bioenergetics. And it's very interesting how he breaks it down, because on one end, you might have somebody who's full of energy, a lot of vibrational energy. On the other end, you'll have somebody who is depressed, in a depressed state. Now, I don't mean depressed in a clinical term. I'm talking about depressed in breathing, depressed in action, in movement, depressed in motivation. It's very, very low. And it goes on to talk about how a depressed person actually has less than half of the movements. They perform half the movements that somebody who is not depressed would perform. So they're basically sitting around more often than somebody who is not depressed. They don't have the drive or the motivation to do things that they even enjoy doing on the extreme level. So it's very important to understand, on the other side of low energy is depression, and the more you don't move, the more depressed you become. It's all correlated together. So what he proposes is, if you get yourself up, breathing and moving, you can actually excite the body in a way to jumpstart your vigor and your vitality. Now, your vitality and your vigor is also linked to your personality. So when you see somebody with a vibrant personality, Or some people might say their aura. You can almost see their aura. That's because they're a high energy individual. And he draws this back to how increasing the oxygen flow throughout the body will aid in this process. We don't really breathe properly because we're not moving. We don't have to climb up something. We don't have to build shelters and hunt for food. Our breathing is very shallow. And I notice this when I'm sitting down and I'm reading for long periods of time or commuting and driving all over the place. What I'll notice is my breathing, it feels like I'm just breathing into my face or my neck. The breath isn't going all the way down through my chest into my stomach and filling the whole body. So you ever notice when you're sitting there sometimes, you'll just take a deep breath out of nowhere. That's your body screaming for oxygen. Oxygen is just so important. If you're feeling low energy and you don't feel motivated to exercise, then what you should do is exercise your lungs by breathing deep. Inhale through the nose into the chest and into the stomach. Now, I'm going to talk about in a little bit how certain foods that you're eating prevent you from breathing all the way into your stomach. Now, this book here, it gets pretty deep, but the emphasis that I want to harp on is how oxygen plays a vital role in your energy. So with the emphasis being on breathing and creativity, every therapy is handicapped by the fact that our culture is not geared toward creativity and the rhythms of the body. It's more geared to machines and a mechanical way of living because it's all about material productivity instead of freely expressing. So the concept of flow, as the breath flows through the body, the blood flows through the body in the same way. So you're carrying oxygen throughout your body, which then gets rid of waste materials in the blood. Notice how youth has a lot of energy. Babies, young children. What do young children constantly do? They're constantly at play. Their bodies are constantly moving. They're almost non-stop until they fall asleep. Young children and babies are growing. So if we're not growing psychologically, mentally, and physically, we're going the reverse direction, which is low energy. Youth, high energy. Aging, low energy. So therefore, your aging has to do with how much movement you have. How much movement are you doing throughout the course of the day? And I believe human beings have the ability to live way past 200 years old. But that's a different topic for another day. So just like a bright, beautiful, clear, sunny day or a beautiful scenery, say you're in Hawaii or some beautiful place, that produces positive chemicals in your brain and body, makes you feel good. Or being around a positive person, uplifting person, your mirror neurons will make you feel good. The opposite is true of a depressing, dark, gray, dreary day, or a negative, low vibrational person can bring the energy level down on another person. But it's not always true for everybody, because a negative person or place might not have the same effect on somebody who's vibrating at a really, really high energy level. In fact, that high energy level person will bring up the mood of people who are vibrating lower because it's strong vibrational energy we're dealing with. And so this goes into the emotions. Your emotions contain so much energy when tapped into properly. Just think about how much energy somebody has when they're angry. So your emotions are linked to your physicality, because when somebody's angry, the blood rushes to the parts of the body that are used for attack. The hands, the arms, the teeth, and the face. You'll see a flushing of the face. In bioenergetics, the physical body is synonymous with emotions. Affection or love produces a softness. You see a gleam in the eyes. There's a warmth in the skin. And then you have sadness, where the person will look like they're literally sinking. They're droopy. It's like a melting look, as if the person is getting ready to break down into tears. So your attitude, i.e. energy, is reflected in the way you hold yourself. Do you stand up straight when you walk? How is your carriage? How do you walk? Is your gait a certain way? Do you have a certain swag to you? Somebody who's vibrating at a high energy has a certain regal bearing to them, as opposed to a person who's hunched over with text neck or droopy features, shoulders sagging down, head looking down. So to treat people who are low energetic in a depressive state, you bring them up, stretch them out. One of the things that you can do is get near a pull-up bar. Hang on the pull-up bar and breathe deep. When your arms are up like this, and you're breathing, you're filling your body with oxygen. You can do this in a standing position without a pull-up bar as well, leaning back as far as you can. You can do it on a yoga ball or a Swiss ball. Breathing in that position alone is a bioenergetic exercise that's going to increase energy. But the whole main point of the bioenergetics is that your personality, your soul, and your spirit is not separate from your physical body. They all combine into one, which makes up your spirit. As it says here, consciousness, however, is not a detached or isolated unit of the personality. It's a function of the organism, an aspect of the living body. It develops relation to the growth of the body physically, emotionally, and psychologically, and it's dependent on experience. It gains depth through the acquisition of skills, and it becomes confirmed in the activity. So a healthy adult is really like a child or a baby in his enthusiasm, his determination. You look at a child is so determined to walk, it just tries over and over again until it gets it. It wants to climb this ladder or this staircase on the side with the railing. It doesn't give up. It keeps trying every single day. No matter how hard it is for the child, it doesn't stop trying to learn how to do this. It doesn't stop trying to get stronger, and it doesn't stop in its pursuit of accomplishing things. And it's supposed to be the same with adults. We lose this through the schooling system and society and culture. Think about how the school system tries to educate a child's mind. What they do is they try to cram in so much information into that child's brain. They use the punishment of failure and fear to try to cram as much information into the child's brain. Human beings don't learn that way. Human beings learn more kinesthetically, because information doesn't become knowledge until it is coupled with experience. You ever notice how you don't really learn, you read something, you don't really learn what you're reading until you apply the knowledge? Knowledge becomes understanding when it's coupled with feeling and emotion. And the stronger the emotion is, the more you're able to retain that information. When a person's mind is influenced by other people, and it's not influenced by their own feelings, that person doesn't have a mind of their own. And that causes energy blockages. It'll manifest itself by having certain tensions in areas of the body. And since the mind and the spirit are connected, the amount of spirit a person has is determined by how much energy and vigor and vitality they have. So your spirit is your life force. It's your self-expression as an individual. And when it is very strong, it makes you stand out from others of your kind. Today we watch a lot of sports in our culture, right? The reason why we like sports is because of the physical expression that we see in other human beings. But the ego has tricked us into thinking that our team needs to win. The mascot, the colors. Now it's all about commentating and marketing instead of the physical expression. It's the bread in the circuses, right? The Roman Colosseum. So this is why it's so important. Instead of watching the sport, play the sport. We forgot about that. People are wrapped up into the winnings, the gambling, and they're not actually playing the sport. This is the whole reason why we like sports in the first place. So you gotta have the energy to recognize when your ego is playing tricks on you, because you can't be fooled by anybody else if you don't allow yourself to be fooled. So when it comes to movement, exercise, and the importance of moving your body, I want to say that yoga is one of the best forms of exercise that you can do because you're moving through different positions while breathing very deeply. And you get to a point where your breath just becomes one with your movement. You don't have to think about breathing through certain positions. You want to get to that point where it's automatically happening. Think about a power lifter. They're going to inhale really deep before they lift. And when they perform the lift, they're going to shoot out the air and they're going to lift. The breath is so important, and it's the first thing to keep in mind when trying to produce more energy. And we all know that working out increases energy. Exercise is going to increase everything. It's going to increase your brain functioning through a process called BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Now, we can't talk about increasing energy without mentioning vegetable oil. Vegetable oil, vegetable oil. Look, the reason why we even have so much vegetable oil in the grocery shelves today, one of the people who contributed to that the most was a guy named Ansel Keys. He turned out to be a really great marketer, but he ran campaigns to basically put margarine on the forefront and to convince people that steak was a heart attack on a plate, when that was not the case at all. So he wasn't really a doctor. He wasn't a physician. He got his PhD studying saltwater eels, but he was really successful in convincing the American public specifically that fat from meat sources was the cause for heart disease. Even though he had really bogus science and manipulation of statistics, he worked alongside the margarine company to help convince people to eat more margarine. Now, another thing that he also did, if you do the research on this guy, is he invented the K ration, the MRE ready-made meals for the troops in the war, because that's around the time that he was doing his campaigning. Shortly after this guy ran amok all over the TV screens, you had all kinds of TV dinners, packaged foods in the grocery stores being sold at critical mass. If you look at the pictures of the beaches in 1950, you don't really see anybody overweight. And then you look at the pictures of the beaches today, you see all these people overweight. You've probably seen these images comparing pictures. You just imagine what the pictures are going to be like 20 to 30 years from now. You know, I don't want to be stuck in the sand with my motorized wheelchair. You know, because if we keep doing this generation after generation, it's just going to get worse and worse. So it needs to stop at some point. You got to get mindful as to what you're putting into your body. And this is really important when it comes to your energy. Because if you're going to cause pain in the body, if you're going to cause inflammation in the body, your energy is going to suffer tremendously. And that's why these certain fats, which are called trans fats, from vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, safflower oil, all these flower oils and all these plant oils are banned. New York City restaurants banned these oils. Other countries have banned these oils. A number of countries have. The United States is one of the only countries that hasn't banned all this stuff. Toxic BS. Every time you consume vegetable oil, if you can see what it does inside your arteries, it makes your arteries delicate and fragile, and it hardens the walls in the arteries so that when you move later on, your artery could tear, and it causes an obstruction in your arteries. It destroys the arterial wall. And by and large, the surgeon that's driving the Porsche Cayenne, driving to the surgical suite to thread another stent into another artery, into another patient, is likely 30 to 40 years behind in his education in regards to nutrition, and the etiology that it plays in the arterial disease that basically paid for his child's Ivy League education, his upcoming trip to Italy, and his house in that affluent neighborhood. Next time you go to the grocery store, look and see how many products contain vegetable oils. What do you make of the fact that while watching TV at home, you see an advertisement for some low cholesterol spread, followed by an advertisement about a cholesterol drug, and then another advertisement about an erectile dysfunction drug? What does this scenario say to the critical thinker in you? So to break this down into simple terms, to understand it, vegetable oil basically distorts the fat molecules in your body to the point where your enzymes, it acts like a Chinese finger trap to your enzymes. It gets stuck to the enzyme and it distorts it to the point where it can't even assimilate in the human body. It also makes it so that you can't even absorb nutrients properly. So if you're eating vegetable oil and you're trying to eat healthy foods, you're rendering those healthy foods and the nutrition in those healthy foods useless. So don't listen to the marketing. Eat real fats, the ones that nature provides. Because nature doesn't make bad fats. Factories do. Another thing that they found is that these fats don't make you satiated, so you want to eat more and more. I mean, it's brilliant if you own one of these companies because you got cash flow coming in like crazy. So in regards to energy in the human body, when you destroy your blood, when you destroy your ability to take in oxygen, your energy is going to suffer tremendously. So don't turn your arteries into crispy chicken, because that's exactly what those trans fats are doing. When you go to an open heart surgery, if you see a video of an open heart surgery to somebody who needed stents put in, their arterial wall looks like fried chicken. Turmeric literally opens up the right and left ventricles of the heart. So if you're having issues, right, and you have had issues, turmeric is like a miracle drug. Except it's not a drug, it's actually a food. And you can't put a patent on a food, so you can't make money off it. It's natural, that grows from the earth. So the vegetable oil weakens the endothelial cell. You need that endothelial structure to be intact so that your body can transport oxygen and energy throughout the body. When you have ED, you have sick endothelial cells, and they can't generate enough nitric oxide. And the way Viagra works is it opens up those endothelial cells so that nitric oxide can artificially flow through. So I guess you can say that vegetable oils are anti-Viagra. So you might get to a point where if you keep eating the vegetable oils, the Viagra won't even work anymore. This goes on, it basically gets to a point where you go to your doctor and the doctor says, all right, you're gonna need surgery. You're basically a ticking time bomb right now. But instead of saying that, what they should be saying is, you need to get off vegetable oils immediately, or I'm gonna have to crack open your chest and replace every artery that needs a stent. It's your choice. What do you want to do? So the next thing I want to get into is toxicity. Clear Your Body, Clear Your Mind. It's a great book, Jeffrey Morrison. I want to talk about environmental poisons and how that can reduce your energy. Because what you're doing when you introduce a lot of these environmental toxins from products or pesticides, those chemicals cross the blood-brain barrier. And this is why they're so dangerous. It's like a slow kill because your brain and body are being overwhelmed by chemical toxins, inflammatory foods, etc. And one of these hazardous chemicals are pesticides. It doesn't just lower your energy, it causes neurodegenerative problems, just like heavy metals such as lead and mercury. Household chemicals, cleaning chemicals. One thing you can do is dilute your cleaning chemicals with a lot of water. The amount of chemicals that they put in cleaning supplies is overkill. Way, way too much. Unless there is like blood and feces everywhere, you don't need that much chemicals. Anything that says antibacterial is basically a pesticide. Any chemicals that say triclosan or parabens, those are endocrine disruptors. What they do is they mimic female hormones and they bind to the estrogen receptors in the body. I'm gonna put a list here on the screen of the chemicals that you wanna stay away from by all means. There's a lot of natural ingredients that you can use instead of laundry detergents, instead of floor cleaners. Baking soda, borax, vinegar, lemon juice, some of the essential oils, tea tree oil, sweet orange oil, rosemary oil, eucalyptus. If you need an air freshener, you can boil cinnamon sticks, or you can boil orange peels or lemon peels. You can even throw in some lavender oil. Let's talk about sugar, because sugar jams up your hormone receptors. It weakens your bones, it weakens your muscles, it impairs your mood, leads to memory loss and dementia. Sugar stiffens the collagen in your body, so that means your skin, your hair, your nails. It causes wrinkling and disrupts the production of new collagen throughout the body. Remember, for physical activity, your collagen is what's protecting your bones. And you don't have the same mental activity and mental energy without the physical activity. And let's make no mistake about it, sugar is a drug. That's why people who eat sugar know it's bad for them and they want to stop eating it and they can't stop. Sugar is the ultimate gateway drug because it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere. And its effects creep up on you slowly. It's not like a heroin addict or any other hard drug user. You see the effects pretty quick. With sugar, it sneaks up on you like a thief in the night. They used to use sugar as a pain reliever for infants that were getting shots. Give them the heel shot. They experimented with this and they gave infants a small amount of sugar water for a pain reliever. And it worked. It made them less finicky. They did a study on this, but they were worried about the developmental effects that practice was having on those newborn babies. They did a 50-50 split where half of the infants got the sugar water and half didn't. They found that the infants who got the sugar had neurological effects that lasted even weeks after the experiment ended. The experiment took place for 7 days. And if you think about it, they give you sweets as a child if you fall down and hurt yourself. Parents give their children sweets as a pacifier, basically. And what that does is it inhibits the child's brain on learning how to cope with distress or discomfort. So automatically causes a feedback loop. It causes a pattern to emerge where every time you feel uncomfortable or discomfort, you reach for something instead of having the fortitude to break through it. There's countless stories that you can find where people have gradually got off sugar and saw their energy levels go through the roof. And everybody knows what a sugar high is. You eat something sweet like some cupcakes, a bunch of chocolate chip cookies. You're bouncing off the walls. But then what happens after? You have a massive crash. And if you eat a lot of sugar and you don't get enough sugar, if your body is so reliant on that sugar, you can actually feel shaky, dizzy, lethargic if you don't get it. So the temptation to treat sugar withdrawal with more sugar is the answer as the cycle continues on. And don't even get me started on fast food. There's probably going to come a point where they have the pharmacy window connected to the fast food building so you can pick up your diabetes medication right after you get your food. You can pay a Dunkin' Donuts deductible, spend $30 at Kentucky Fried Chicken, get $30 off your prescription. So just remember, food is instructions to your body, just like the sunlight. Sunlight has the #1 source of vitamin D and other nutrients that your body needs. Now, when you eat food, are you giving your body the right instructions to facilitate the functions in your body, the systems in your body, so that they can perform the way that they're supposed to? Or are you feeding your body food that's giving your body instructions to then generate diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, and heart disease? What are you giving to your body? So if you've been in the house for a long period of time, you look outside, you see the sun's out, get outside, stretch up, breathe deep, all the way into your stomach. Fill your body with oxygen over and over again. Repeat the process. Then you might have enough energy to prepare some healthy foods and stick to the game plan. And every day you'll notice your energy climbing, your energy getting better and better. Now, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I slip up. When I was a kid, my diet wasn't always as healthy. I remember me and my brother just taking a box of cereal to the face, when we were teenagers, filling up this big bowl. After we finished that bowl, another bowl. And it's crazy because had I not done that, maybe I would have accomplished more at a younger age. I used to eat that, sit in front of the TV, watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But the main point of the video is to take control of what you put into your body. Take control of your routines, your regimen, the movement throughout the day. Human beings are made to walk, we're made to move, we're made to climb, run, jump, lunge, twist, bend. all these movements. Incorporate them into your regimen. And don't forget to have fun in the process. Because your overall vibration, your overall energy and spirit are connected. It's what makes up you and your personality. So take it serious. Get it to the next level. One day at a time. And we'll see you on the next one.